We're going to be talking about the family tree of game today. We're going live.
We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
Good morning, everybody. We are live on YouTube, X, and now Instagram. On Friday, I thought I was streaming live to Instagram, but it turns out you have to keep it running on a separate monitor the whole time, which is why I started off a little bit, and there was a little bit of a dead air lead in right there. It's because I have to wait for it to start streaming to Instagram, and then I have to click go live on Instagram. It's kind of a pain. I might not keep doing this, but if you guys are watching on Instagram right now, sound off. Do you like this? Do you like this? I can't see you in my StreamYard chat though. I have to look over here. So I can't bring your comments on the screen. So if you want to participate, guys, you got to come on over to YouTube or go over to Facebook or something like that. Then you can participate. We are going to be talking about the family tree of game today. I can't remember who in the beer club came up with this idea. It might have been Brother Ed. I can't remember. We were all talking about uh different people's influences and stuff like that. It's like this comes up a lot. This comes up a lot because as a lot of you guys know, this show started off as almost like a Corey Wayne fan podcast, 3 years ago. This podcast started off in the original 3% Man group. So this used to be, a 3% Man podcast. That's what I used to call this show. But it's blossomed out from there. And I've been largely influenced not just by Corey Wayne, but by a whole bunch of people. In fact, if you guys read Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18, my new book, if you guys go into the dating and spinning plates chapters and then the relationships chapters, I quote from a lot of people. And I've taken a whole bunch of ideas and merged them into a very easy to follow linear path as far as being efficient in dating, the way attraction works, using red pill, like integrating red pill ideas into, standard dating advice. Because what's funny is was it yesterday or day before yesterday? Corey Wayne commented on Nuclear Caudillo's post on Twitter and started talking about those red pill guys. Those red pill guys have been sending Corey a lot of business lately. It's like, bro, your ideas largely are red pill. They largely are red pill ideas, bro. But you just don't like the branding of it, marketing guys. So we're gonna get into it today. Like, who was everybody influenced by? But anyway, going back to what I was saying. So this show is, used to be like a Corey Wayne sort of fan show, and I would get accused a lot of people going, "You're just trying to rip off Corey." I'm not necessarily ripping off his stuff. Give him credit. Anytime I talk about the stuff that I learned from him, and I don't think there's any shame in guys uh, saying, "Hey, I learned this from so and so." I think the best of us do that. The people that you should really worry about are guys that promote other people's ideas, usually Rollo's ideas. Most people come into the space and start stealing Rollo's work, and then they pass it off like they invented it. It's like, no, dude, no, 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 no. In fact, I'm even gonna come and show you guys how even Rollo has been influenced by certain people too. Okay. So none of this stuff is original. Literally none of it is original. Okay. But what happens is we take other people's ideas, we go out and practice it ourselves, and then we, put our own little spin on it, put our own little, as Nurse Chick likes to say, our own little zhuzh on it, right? Our own life experiences. This is what worked for me, and this is how I took this idea and made it my own, right? Uh, so anyway, that's the premise of this show. It's largely good. We're just gonna wing it today. I don't have bullet points, but I do have a PowerPoint presentation, guys. I have a PowerPoint presentation. Before we get into that though, man, we've got quite a few people in the chat. Let's see. We sounding out. We got a lot of people that have joined on Instagram and left apparently. Okay. Instagram's working that way. I don't even I'm probably not gonna keep doing this. It's kind of a pain to set up. What are you guys talking about in the chat? Let's see here. We've got, Nurse Chicks in the house. Good morning. Happy hump day. Girl, you dirty girl. Okay, we've got we have a super chat already. We gotta wait 3 more minutes to play it because I have a new sound drop, guys, for super chats. I have a new sound drop, and we're gonna wait 3 more minutes to play that. Let's see here. Nathan's chatting in here quite a bit. Robert, what's up? Good afternoon, bro. Where are you at? Why it's afternoon where you're at already? It's only 8 AM here where I'm at. Brother Luis, what's going on? This is one thing I wanna tell you guys too. These lists, this family tree that I put together, it's not comprehensive, okay? I'm sure I'm missing people. I'm sure if any of these guys, like Ryan Stone, for instance, on the tree here. If Ryan's watching, if he is, he's usually silent. He doesn't track from, uh, you know, what other people are doing. I've heard him say that before. Sometimes but if I have missed anybody that you've been influenced by, or if I misquote you, I apologize. But largely where I'm getting this information is from people's work. So either they quote these people in their books or they've mentioned them somehow or whatever. But I didn't just come up with this stuff, right? And I'm sure that I'm missing people that they've been influenced. So if there's someone that was a strong influence on you, like if Corey, if you tune in, Rollo, if you tune in, Ryan, if any of you guys tune in and you're like, "Oh, you know what? Who really influenced me though was this person," I'll have to update my PowerPoint presentation some other day. But we're gonna get into it today. I think it should be fun. Guys, before we get too far into this, be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. You should know what to do by now. Sound off in the live chat today. If you guys are watching on X, I think I should be able to see comments on X now, but I still can't see comments on Instagram. So if you're on Instagram, come on over to YouTube and you can sound off and I can bring your comments up on the screen. And guys, please send super chats. I do have a new sound drop today that should be fun. I'll play it for everybody who sends a super chat today. We already have one in there, and we're about 30 seconds away. But let's start with PowerPoint. This is my PowerPoint. Very simple PowerPoint. I just made this sort of hierarchy chart here. So let's start with me. All right. If you guys read my book, Everything I Wish I Knew When I Was 18, yeah, you get it here. Books that come on me. I largely quote from all these people, right? And I actually, you know what? I'm missing Archwinger. I have Archwinger in here or in my book. Quoted him in the relationship chapter, but that's okay. Archwinger is mentioned under Ryan Stone, so that's okay. So you have me here, and then this is my level of influence. And starting here on the left, we go Corey Wayne, Dr. Robert Glover, Christopher Canwell. So Corey Wayne wrote How to Be a 3% Man. I've read that like 21 times. Dr. Robert Glover wrote No More Mr. Nice Guy. I've read that 3 times now, and he also wrote Dating Essentials for Men, which I've read a dozen times. And then Christopher Canwell wrote Atomic Attraction, which I've read a dozen times also. So those three individuals they form what I refer to as my holy trinity, right? That's really where largely where my dating and relationship philosophy comes from, those 3 guys. Well, I really started studying Rollo's stuff, especially after I started working with him, and, I've read all 5 of his books. I I did a whole series on his, player's handbook, right? If you go and look under my playlist on YouTube, I have a 49 Maxims of Game playlist, and that's based off of Rollo's book, The Player's Handbook. So, I actually quote some of the Player's Handbook in my book. But I've also read The Rational Male, the first one. I've read that one twice. So I've got a lot of Rollo influence in me. Ryan, man, Ryan's just, he's so undervalued in the space, you know? Ryan is a wealth of information, and he actually a lot of his stuff comes from a bunch of other people too, which you'll see. I quote some from Alan Roger Curry in my book. He's the author of Mode 1, and, I actually got to interview him before he passed away. Luckily, was able to get some of that knowledge dust off of him. That guy, um, was just a genius. Now you'll see here that some of these guys have red behind their names. That's because I don't know who they were influenced by, okay? So if there's red behind their name, it's because, I don't know where that family tree goes, right? I'm sure they were influenced by somebody. Now, Alan Roger Curry is an interesting cat because I think he let's see, was influenced. He was influenced by an adult film movie, but I don't know what that movie was, so I didn't wanna, like, create a whole slide on that and go back and research that, so, he's a dead branch as far as I'm concerned, and he's largely a lot of his stuff he came up on his own. Royce, his stuff is genius. I quote a lot from Royce, especially the, 16 Commandments of Coon in my book. I don't know who he was influenced by. I'm sure he was influenced by other people too. Pook, definitely, I quote from Puck a little bit in the book, as well, and then my buddy Benny Lichtenwalder. Now Benny, he's largely influenced by the same people I was influenced by, with one exception. He's influenced quite a bit by Owen Cook, uh, better known as RSD Tyler Durden, okay? So but I learned a lot from Benny because Benny put his own spin on things, and he's the one that created, Facebook game and stuff and taught all those social media game. So, added Benny. Alright, let's take this off for a second. We'll get back to it in a minute. We do have a super chat. We do have to play the new soundbite. Brother Nathan, $2 super chat. Give me that new sound after 8 minutes. Yes, you get this.
Respect the cock and tame the cunt.
Yes. Respect the cock. Tame the cunt. Thank you, Brother Nathan. You know what? I don't have Tom Likas in there because I wasn't as influenced by Tom Likas, and I don't really quote him at all in my book, thing. But I'm not necessarily missing Tom Likas, but, I did used to listen to him. I'm pretty sure that helped contribute to the end of my marriage. Honestly, was not helpful. Glenn Lawrence is the most famous Christian in the red pill space, so I better have made this power. You know what, though, Glenn? I was going to add Dalrock to Rollo's because I know Dalrock influenced Rollo's sort of, religious red pill stuff, but I'm talking about game here. I'm talking about other factors for the most part. So, you didn't make the list. You didn't. You son of a bitch. Okay. So, all right, let's get back to the PowerPoint. That's what you guys came here for the PowerPoint. So that's this list. Oh, actually, before we get too far into this, guys, follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list, list.comeonmanpod.com. I've got about, I don't know, 8 people that just signed up recently. I gotta send out some stickers today. So I'll send you stickers. You get, 20 dating app openers, and you also get a free chapter of my book on the 4 different ways to meet women. And then get the book, guys. Books.comeonmanpod.com will take you to my Amazon authors page, and from there, you can buy all the different versions. It's available in Kindle, paperback, hardcover, special edition with, dinosaurs and shit on it for no reason, and then there's also the audiobook edition that's been narrated by R.P. Thor. And then check out the Practical Law of Attraction course, loa.comeonmanpod.com. And then, let me play a commercial for the book, and then we'll get back into the PowerPoint, guys. Life is a journey filled with twists and turns. Why is it that essential life lessons aren't taught in school? You probably know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell, but do you know how to invest in a Roth IRA? We're not taught to build ourselves mentally, physically, and spiritually. The roadmap to success is more than just a college degree. You don't have to follow the traditional route. Success isn't confined to a classroom. It's about discovering your own path. You ever wish that someone handed you a guidebook to life when you were 18? Well, it's never too late to rewrite your story. Everything I wish I knew when I was 18. Advice for young men to create a great life for themselves. This book is your compass, guiding you to pick the right career, how to invest wisely, and how to prepare for a fulfilling future. To take control of your health and your fitness. Learn how to date efficiently and find genuine desire. And master the art of leading healthy relationships. Your path is defined by the choices you make, not by others' expectations. Don't wait until you're 35 to unlock your potential. Order your copy now on Amazon. Rewrite your story. Build the life you deserve. All right, get the book, guys. Now, I'm dropping links to that in the chat for you YouTubers and Facebookers. If you guys are on Instagram, go get the link over on YouTube. Stupid Facebook. Anyway, so let's go to the next part of the list. So what I did was each person in my right under me there, I went down the line. So anyone in blue, they have their own slide. Okay, so let's go to the next slide here, which is going to be Corey Wayne. So Corey Wayne, if you read Corey Wayne's book, you find very quickly he was largely influenced by a guy named Doc Love. Right? In fact, back in the day, when Doc Love was still alive, um, he wrote a book called The System, and The System is where you first get the concept of a 3% man, right? Doc says in that book, only 3% of the world's population of men actually understands women, right? That's where 3% comes from. And if you read The System, uh, and then go and read How to Be a 3% Man, it follows pretty closely. Follows pretty closely. So, at that back in the day, Doc used to be very upset with Corey for stealing his work. I don't know if this is true or not. I've heard this, but I think the first edition of How to Be a 3% Man, he doesn't mention Doc at all. Now, Corey also used a ghostwriter to write that. So I don't know if they just largely just ripped off Doc and reworded everything. I don't know. I don't know the backstory on that, but I do know that Corey edited the current edition that's out, and he does give credit to Doc Love for a lot of this stuff. So just FYI. Another person that largely influences Corey is David Data. So David Data wrote a book called The Way of the Superior Man. It's a very good book, very woo-woo. No, it's very woo-woo and spiritual. And that's where you get all of Corey's concepts of masculine and feminine energy, right? That's all David Data's information in How to Be a 3% Man. Then you have David D'Angelo. Now, David D'Angelo influenced a lot of people, which you'll see. He also influenced Dr. Robert Glover. Now, the first time I read Corey's book, and then I read Dr. Robert Glover's Dating Essentials for Men, I was like, man, these concepts go hand in hand. They really complement each other, And I was like, I wonder if Dr. Glover read Corey's book, right? No, no, they were just influenced by the same people, David Data and David D'Angelo. Right? So, Dr. Glover talks about masculine, feminine energy, and he talks about being cocky funny. And, anytime you hear someone talk about cocky funny, that's David D. came up with. Corey also was influenced by Tony Robbins in his book. He talks about Tony Robbins a lot. Now, Tony Robbins really isn't a game guy. He's more of like a life coach type guy, but there's a lot of Tony Robbins influence in there. And then Dale Carnegie. Now, Dale Carnegie, I should have added Dale as a first level for me, but I added him here under Corey because I didn't think to even go Dale Carnegie until I read Corey. Just thought it was there. Now, Dale Carnegie, he wrote How to Win Friends and Influence People. And you might think, oh, but that's more of a sales book, isn't it? Well, dating is sales, is it not? Dating is sort of sales. So the funny thing is about Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People is it works in the dating market, right? The whole idea of the 80-20 rule of letting her do 80% of the talking, you do 20% of the talking, you take a genuine interest in her, ask her questions about herself, because everyone is their own favorite subject. So if you ask questions about them and let them talk, man, they just think that you're the greatest person in the world, especially women, right? So Dale Carnegie's book is a good one to read. I've read that one, I think, twice now. It's a very good one. We have some more super chats here. Look at this. You guys all did this today. Don Juan, Plague is 0. Glenn, go and debate. No one knows. Yes. Okay. You get everybody gets this today.
Respect the cock and tame the cunt.
Yes. Let's see. We have Ed with a $5 super chat. Beer Club has influenced Southern Ohio alcohol consumption. Yes. Yes, it has.
Respect the cock and tame the cunt.
Yes. We have Don Juan again with another $1.99 super chat. David D is the only legitimate person there. Is he? I've got him. He's got his own slide.
Respect the cock and tame the cunt.
Yes. All right. Thank you for that, guys. Back to the slides. Okay. So that's Corey Wing. Okay. Now I'm probably missing other people. Corey is a smart guy. If you ever read his third book, and I haven't read his fourth book. I think it's basically a volume 2 of the third book, but it's Quotes, Ruminations, and Contemplations. It's actually a pretty good book. He quotes from a lot of people like Rumi and he Corey's a law of attraction guy. He talks about what's that guy's name? Trying to think. Anyway, he quotes from other people too, but I'm strictly trying to keep it to game, right? All right, next slide, we got Dr. Robert Glover. Dr. Glover is an interesting guy because I think a lot of people base, a lot of the relationship stuff, a lot of red pill stuff comes from Dr. Robert Glover's No More Mr. Nice Guy. A lot of people quote No More Mr. Nice Guy, right? It's probably one of the first books in the space. So now Dr. Robert Glover, he was a marriage therapist for a long time. You know, he was a couples therapist for a long time. So he's probably got lots of other influences there. He was influenced by 12-step programs and men's groups and stuff like that. But when it comes to game, he's largely influenced by David Data and David D'Angelo, right? So yeah. Oh no, is my audio cutting out, guys? Drop a 1 in the chat if it's bad, or do I need to fix it? Do I need to do something? Let me know. Drop a 1 in the chat. Oh, that sucks. Um, Drop a 1 in the chat. Let me know if it's still a problem, guys. Let me know. Let me know. Sounds fine to you. Okay. All right. Thank you. Oh, and then we also have another super chat here. Let's go ahead and knock that one out real quick.
Respect the cock and tame the cunt.
Yes, definitely. Paul is the GOAT. Beer Club is helpful to all. Yes, I'm glad you're getting some value out of that. It's random. Okay, well, hopefully it clears up. I do also have Instagram going over here on my right too, which is a pain. That might be causing problems. I might not keep doing this. I might not keep streaming to Instagram, guys. All right, so that was Dr. Glover. And like I said, if you guys know if someone out there was influenced by someone else and I missed just like sound off in the chat. Let's crowdsource this, okay? Okay, so now we have Rollo Tamasi, Mr. Tamasi here. Now, this is an interesting one because last night I reached out to Rollo and I said, Rollo came from the swab forums. So I'm sure there's plenty of people in the forum that didn't get mentioned in here that I just wasn't aware of. But these are people that I've heard him quote in his books. Okay. And so I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, who from the Evo psych space influenced you?" And he just sent me a whole list. I was like, "Okay, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. So let me just throw them all in a thing there." So that's the green is. I'm sure these people were influenced by other people too, but I just didn't want to do any research on them. So and I lumped them all together in one group. Okay, so that's why that's green. But Rollo, he quotes a lot from Royce. He quotes a lot from Rushdie, and, he quotes a lot from Puck. Now, you often hear that Royce and Rushdie and Rollo, those are the 3 R's of the manosphere. Probably heard that. I quote a lot from Royce. I'm reading, um, Artiste on Game, which is a compilation of all of his blog articles, and there's 2 volumes of it. It's freaking enormous, right? That guy wrote a lot. And Royce, he used to have a blog called Royce in DC where he was like a pickup artist or whatever, and then he got, doxxed, so then he changed his blog to Chateau Artiste, and, uh, and that's where you get, Artiste on Game. But that's Royce. Royce's work is interesting because some of it it's very flashy and flamboyant, and, largely, I think some of it is kayfabe, and some of it is sensationalism. But other parts are very practical, so you gotta sort of read it for the entertainment value and then take out what's useful, right? Oh, yeah, Ian Iron. Oh, I probably could have put Ian under Ryan. Shit, I missed that. We'll get to that. We'll get back to that when I get to Ryan's slide. Then we have Royce Rushdie. Now Roosh, he was a pickup artist too. He wrote books like Day Bang. Um, he was the owner of, uh, the Return of Kings blog, which, anytime you hear me talk about you only need 4 exercises, uh, I knew this idea from the military, but I there was a blog written on the Return of Kings that I used to reference all the time that talks about you only need these 4 exercises, and, that was on the Return of Kings, but Roosh finally, I think this year sometime, took down the Return of Kings finally, because he found God and went and became, now he's an evangelist for Orthodox Christianity. So he's basically left the space. You can still find all of his old work on the Red Pill archive, though. It's not completely gone, and I think he's largely priced them uh, out of market. If you go to if you go to Amazon and try to buy Daybang, I think it's like $300 a book or something. It's outrageous. Uh, but you can still find PDFs of it online out there in places. Hook, um, Hook was Rollo quotes Hook a lot, right? The whole idea of women would rather, share an alpha than be saddled with a faithful beta that comes from Hook, right? The whole idea of, uh the quickest way to make a woman unhappy is give her everything she wants. That comes from Book, right? Book of Book is very good. That's also a compilation of articles that Book shared on the old swab forums and stuff back in the day. Someone compiled those all into a book that makes sense. Phenomenal book. You guys have to read it. All right. Um, I'm sure Book was influenced by other people too. I just don't know. And no one knows who Book is, right? Elena, yes. Good to see you too. I'll rewatch the show after my class. Very well. Let's see here. Pook is classic gold. Yes. Oh, Governor. Hey, what's up, man? Rush's Rock and the MGTOW forums were my gateway to being introduced into the Return of Kings. Okay. Gateway to introduce the red pill space, so I have them to thank for something. Okay, there we go. Anyone remember Swing Cat? No, who's Swing Cat? Do tell. Do tell. Who's Swing Cat? All right. And then Robert Greene, right? 48 Laws of Power. Rollo quotes a lot from Robert Greene. So he was a big influence on Rollo. In fact, the other day I was pitching one of Rollo's 5-hour live streams, and Rollo was someone asked him about books to read, and Rollo just started rattling off a bunch of Robert Greene's books. Now I've read 48 Laws of Power. That is a phenomenal book. That is a great book. I highly recommend that book. To me, I mentioned Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People. How to Win Friends and Influence People to me is like the Jedi way of influence, right? Whereas the 48 Laws of Power is like the Sith, you know what I mean? It's dark, but it's good. and it's not necessarily something that you have to use on other people, but it's good to read it to recognize when other people are doing things to you. You know what I mean? So a lot of people are like, "Oh, we can't read that book. It's like the Narcissist Handbook." You're looking at it all wrong, friend. You're looking at it all wrong. Okay? Why would you not want to learn something? That's retarded. And then we have Rollo's Evo Psych. So he sent this to me yesterday on DM. So he's for Evo Psych because a lot of stuff, Rollo's stuff, does come from evolutionary psychology, especially his work on hypergamy. Right. So he's got Marty Hazelton, Gad Sad, Steve Stewart Williams, Robert Trivers, Hector Garcia, David Schmidt, and David Buss. Now, David Buss has backtracked over the years, right? He stopped talking about hypergamy, like being dualistic and being women's mating strategy. Now they have this whole thing of mate switching hypothesis, which I mean, if you watch people people's couples, break up and women cheating and stuff like that, it doesn't the mate switching hypothesis just doesn't stand up to scrutiny, in my opinion, you know? And that's the whole thing about these theories, right, guys? The way the scientific method works is you create a hypothesis. I think women are acting this way because of X, Y, and Z. And then you test that hypothesis. And then if you can't disprove the hypothesis, you raise it to a theory. So when something becomes a theory, it's actually got quite a bit of evidence behind it. Well, if you watch some of these Hollywood scandal, play out, the mate switching hypothesis doesn't stand up to scrutiny. You know what I mean? But so far, in, like, every major, like, Hollywood debacle that we've seen play out, over the years, it it always follows the path that Rollo's described in The Rational Male, you know? So, yes, it is funny that 48 Laws is not allowed in some prisons, yes. No, mate switching, I don't think is the same, because I don't think it's the same. It's totally different the way they describe it. Okay, so let's go to the next set of let's see here. We gotta get the plugs in, guys. The next set of plugs, which is very short. Get on the beer club, guys. Beer.comeonmanpod.com. It's a good group of dudes. It's a private Telegram community. We meet once a month and just have drinks, talk about guy stuff. If you guys don't have a good circle of guy friends that you can talk to about your shit, join the beer club, right? It's a free trial available. I highly recommend you guys, if you guys wanna try it out, wait until it gets closer to, an actual meetup, and then join for free, join the trial, come to the group, and come to the meetup, and then if you like it, stay in the group. If you don't, drop. We've had some people do that. Okay, no harm, no foul. Um, January 7th, it's a Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. The legendary Erik Everhard is gonna be giving a free presentation to the beer club. So, if you guys want to level up your sex game, definitely join the beer club and go to that. It's free, for all members. He's got a new book coming out called The Tao of Eating Pussy. Eric's such a cool dude, man, for being such an influential porn star. I had Sterling on once, and after we were done recording, he's like, "Hey, I saw that you had Eric on." Eric's a fucking legend. So, before Sterling Cooper, there was Erik Everhard. He's gonna be giving a presentation to the beer club here in January. So get on that. And they also offer coaching, guys. One-on-one coaching is available at gumroad.comeonmanpod.com. All right, that's all the plugs for now, guys. Let's get on with business. Now we have my man Ryan Stone. He's a man, Ryan's such an interesting cat to get to know. You really have to prove yourself to Ryan Stone. Ryan's written such seminal works as Frame and most recently Dread, which is in the other room, but I'm reading that right now. Phenomenal. God damn. It disgusts me. It disgusts me how fucking smart Ryan Stone is. how fucking witty that guy is. I mean, fuck that guy, for real. Like, that guy is just ridiculously smart and witty, and man, fuck that guy. And I love Ryan. But if you watch any of Ryan's work, right, Ryan pulls from a lot of guys, and I don't even think I'm doing him justice here. He's such a smart cat. There's probably a million dudes in his family tree here. But he's largely influenced by Dr. Robert Glover as well. Uh, he introduced me to Athol Kay. Athol Kay wrote The Married Man's Sex Life Primer, which if you guys are in any kind of LTR, committed relationship, that's the book. That's the book for you, okay? That one, forget love languages, read Athol Kay's his original one, right? The Married Man's Sex Life Primer. Definitely read that one. We have Manuel Smith. Now, all these are all from like the married red pill sidebar too, right? If you guys go to the old married red pill Reddit, I think it's is it? No, it's still available. Um, go through the sidebar, read this stuff. Now, Ryan argues that the linear list in that sidebar is red pill canon, right? If you go through that list, it's like Dr. Robert Glover, Athol Kay, Manuel J. Smith. He wrote When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. It's a book on setting boundaries and enforcing boundaries. Great book. And then it goes to like Rollo's work, right? So he's like, Rollo's work is outstanding, but it's like fourth in canon. That's Ryan Stone saying that. I don't. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter. You have to read Rollo's work, right? Rollo's work is you can't truly understand women if you don't read Rollo's work. There, I said it. We have Archwinger. Archwinger is a good dude. He wrote a lot of articles in the Married Red Pill forum back in the day. A guy named Whisper, a guy named Human Sock Puppet. Now, I specifically named those guys. I'm sure there's other guys. Rule Zero Dad. I'm sure those guys are all on the list too. But Ryan specifically calls them out in Frame and in Dread. So that's why those three specifically got mentions. And then over here on the right, I added this morning. That's why it's in green, because it's a group of dudes. That comes from this book. Rollo, or not Rollo, Ryan, he mentions this book twice right in the first couple of chapters of Dread. But it's Practical Female Psychology, written by Joseph W. South, David Clare, and a guy named Franco. I just finished that. It's great. I highly recommend it, and I got that recommendation from Ryan. Oh, crap. Okay, no, I thought I had a new super chat. That was an old one. Never mind. You almost got 2 of those. Oh, hey, look here. We got here. Oh, George. Hey, George. Guys, I have an upcoming interview with George. You guys need to, if you guys aren't subscribed, tune into that. The Magic of Thinking Big by David Schwartz and Acres of Darkness by Russell Conwell that most men don't know about. Okay. I'm gonna have to write that down. I'll have to get that one, come back and get that one later. Add those ones to my list. What we got here? AJ says join beer club. Yes. And let's see here. Yes, Ryan is the most underrated couch. All right. That's Ryan, and I'm sure I'm missing other people. Ryan's really ridiculously smart dude. But, these I would say are, based on his books, based on the videos I've watched of Ryan's, are probably like some of the biggest influences. Then we got my man Benny. My man Benny Lichtenwalder. Now, Benny is a funny guy. I freaking love this man. He walks on water, in my opinion. But he used to do date coaching when I first met him. Now he's a breakup coach. So what he's largely doing, and he's making just money hand over fist with it. And so it's like I can't blame him. I can't blame him. But now he's a breakup coach, and what he does is people that are going through a breakup and they want to reattract an ex, they go to Benny. Okay. I personally don't believe in that philosophy. There's no way I could ever do that, just from a moral standpoint. I think that's a terrible idea. But but Benny's a good dude, and everything that he'll teach you in reattracting NX will absolutely help you in getting with someone better, uh, once you find out that, the story ends the same, okay? We'll just leave it at that. Now, Benny, he and I have had conversations about this before, right? The family tree of game. Benny is largely influenced by the pretty much the same people as me, right? Corey Wayne, David Data, and David Data influenced Corey Wayne. But he's also influenced by Owen Cook. If you guys don't know Owen Cook, if you guys have ever read the book The Game, used to go by RSD Tyler Durden, right? So he's the guy that uh, joined Project Hollywood, learned everything from Mystery, learned everything from Neil Strauss, stole their shit, and then uh, you know basically he I think he was spurgy enough to break it down into, why it worked and stuff like that, and then, helped create real social dynamic. So what was it? Mystery had he was teaching social dynamics, so Owen Cook and those guys created real social dynamics. That's Owen Cook. But his stuff does work, and Benny a lot of the stuff Benny, teaches I talk about it in the book too, when you're getting ready for a date and you want to get yourself psyched up and pumped and get yourself socially lubricated and build that social momentum before the date. That's all, I learned that from Benny. Benny learned all that kind of stuff from Owen. It is funny how he's the villain of the book. He really is. Yeah. All right. That's my buddy Benny. So let's go down to some of these guys. David D'Angelo. Oh, that didn't show up very well on StreamYard. Looks better on PowerPoint. David D'Angelo, he's the guy I said he came up with Cocky Funny. He inspired Corey Wayne and Dr. Robert Glover. David D'Angelo, if you read The Game, was a student of Ross Jeffries. Okay, Ross Jeffries was the master of using NLP, neuro linguistic programming to pick up on chicks. Okay, so that's I'm sure he learned from other people too, but I only know that he studied under Ross Jeffries, and allegedly it's because he left. He broke away from Ross Jeffries because Ross seduced his girlfriend or something like that. We have Tony Robbins. He inspired Corey Wayne. He was influenced by Jim Rohn, John Grinder. John Grinder, or is it Grinder? I think it's Grinder. Might be Grinder. He was one of the co-founders of NLP. So, he also influenced Ross Jeffries, we'll get to, and then, we have Peter Gruber. We have Owen Cook, who inspired, Benny Lichtenwalner, right? And if you guys read The Game, uh, he learned from Neil Strauss and Mystery and stole their shit and repackaged it, right? At least they accuse him of stealing their shit, right? He put his own spin on it, That's why I say this whole thing is funny because we all have learned from other people. We're all, Rich Cooper, I should have added Rich Cooper to my list, but Rich, he said it once really well on Twitter. We're all singing with the same music here, you know? So having someone say, they're stealing your shit is I think it's valid if people steal your shit and aren't giving you any credit. This whole episode is me giving credit to everybody. All right, then we have Neil Strauss, right? Neil Strauss, clearly in the book, he first went to Ross Jeffries, started learning NLP, and then he heard about Mystery and then started learning Mystery's peacocking, methodology and stuff like that, using magic tricks and stuff like that. And then Neil, like, combined them both, right? Became style. Became style, guys. You have to have a cool name if you're gonna be a pickup artist. Then we have, Ross Jeffries. So we have he inspired Neil Strauss and David D'Angelo. And so he was if you read Ross Jeffries' story, he read a book called Frogs to Princes, which was, uh, written by Bandler and is it Grinder or Grinder? I'm never gonna get this right. He wrote, Frogs to Princes, which was written by Bandler and Grinder. Those guys were the inventors of NLP. Those guys created NLP. And so he read that book, and learned neuro-linguistic programming and applied that to pickup artistry. And if you go back to a couple slides here, let's see, Tony Robbins, he was also influenced by Grinder, right? NLP. So see, there's a family tree. Some of these are connecting. You see what I'm saying here? Ross Jeffries, Bandler and Grinder, and that is my last slide. I know I'm missing people, guys. I know I'm missing people. Who else who else am I missing? Can you guys think of anybody else that, influenced some of these people? Just drop it in the chat, um, if you guys know. What's his name? David D'Angelo's real name is Eben Pagan. I did not know that. That's that's not as sexy as David D'Angelo. Don Juan Plaga Zero sent a 4.99 super chat. Ryan went out for 10 years to get mid girls, and his now girl looks like a frog. Frame is not praxeological, it's a psychological phenomenon. You're going to get this, then I'm probably gonna ban you because you sound like a dick.
Respect the cock and tame the cunt.
Yeah, you shut your mouth around here because Ryan walks on water, all right? You keep it down. Keep it down. Unless you send super chats, then maybe whatever. Ross Jeffries clips from talk shows are hilarious. Yes, actually, I could have put Ross Jeffries as an influence because in the book I talk about there's things that women say they want, they think they want, and that they actually want to. That's a direct quote from Ross Jeffries. So that's it, guys. I loosely threw that together yesterday. I'm sure it's not a comprehensive list, but it gives you an idea, though, right? Like everything in this space is pretty much not original. We everybody, like, didn't just, like, magically wake up one day with this idea about how the women are, you know what I mean? It's like, someone learned from somebody and they're like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, okay. No, I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna quote that," you know? So none of this stuff in this space is original, none of it. Pretty much absolutely none of it. Some of it is from experience, but a lot of people, before going out and getting their experience, learn from someone else. You know what I mean? Right? Super chat, like, no, like, Ryan's a friend of mine. You know? Ooh, who's this? You're leaving out Dr. Bob Bodenhammer, Institute of Neuros who I mean, what's neurosemantics? What is oh, neurosemantics. Got it. Okay, I'm leaving him out. Who did he influence? Did he who did he influence? Let me know. Oh, MLD. Oh, MLD. Now, when I talk to MLD, so I wouldn't say MLD was a direct influence on me. Uh, I didn't stumble onto him until later. I did interview him though. He had a few mentors. He had a guy named Player Supreme. That was MLD's mentor. MLD, he didn't just come up with this stuff on his own, but he said that he used to participate back in the forums back in the day too, before, red pill became a thing. So, um, I didn't have him on the list. Let's see here. There's a London Real interview with David D'Angelo. It's weird to not see him in character. Oh, uh, just look that guy up. Well, but that's the thing. It's like this is a family tree, so I'm just wondering who he influenced, but I can look that up. Mode 1. What about Mode 1? Oh, okay. Dr. Bob recently influenced Ross Jeffries. Oh, okay. So he could go to Ross Jeffries' family tree. Got it. Okay. I did mention Mode 1. I did mention Mode 1 at the beginning because I do talk about Alan Roger Curry. I directly quote Alan Roger Curry quite a bit in my book, actually. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. If you guys can't think of any more, then we'll go ahead and wrap up. Largely, this whole episode has been winged today, which is fun. I like doing that, but If you guys haven't done so already, please like, subscribe, hit those notifications. Thanks to everybody that sounded off in the chat today. Thanks for all the super chats. I appreciate it. It was fun playing that new soundbite. Well, before I get into it, tune in Friday. We're going to continue our Science of Getting Rich series. I can't remember what chapter that's on, but I think it's on gratitude. I think it's on gratitude. But we'll just tune in Friday for that. Thanks for the super chats, guys. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. I'll send you some free stickers, get 20 dating app openers, and then you also get a free chapter of my book. And it's the chapter on the different ways to meet women, right? There's basically 4 ways I lay out in this book. Everything I wish I knew when I was 18. Get the book, guys. Books.comeonmanpod.com. Check out my Practical Law of Attraction course, loa.comeonmanpod.com. It's woo-woo free. It's chick crack free. Okay. Join the beer club. It's a good group of dudes. Only $10 a month. And then one-on-one coaching is available at gumroad.comeonmanpod.com. What does George say? Oh, okay. In the Christian realm, guys like Tim Keller and John MacArthur are goats. Oh, that's good. That's good to know. Thank you, George. All right, guys. We will see you guys Friday for the live stream.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.